There, welcome to the Treasurer's Manual, How to Complete a Travel Reimbursement Voucher Form. This is also known as a TRV. This form is to be completed for every student that is seeking reimbursement for anything that was approved through a finance committee and they want to turn in receipts to get a check from the university in repayment for what they spent on their travel for the competition or conference. Please make sure you're logged into your Treasurer's Manual website, and you can click the Forms tab at the top of the web page, and you can click then Travel Reimbursement Voucher Form PDF link. When you click this link, you'll be brought to a PDF page that you can fill in every section. For this example that I'm going to walk you through today, we're going to use the same example from the TA we created in the TA video, and we are going to reimburse a student for their payment to a convention that they went to in Fort Myers, Florida. So for the payee section at the top left, please make sure you put the specific student you're reimbursing's name, full name at the top, and then their mailing address to where they want their check to be sent to in the mailing address section. Please make sure you always have the city, state, and zip code at the bottom of the address. Make sure you put their VIP ID number, and then for the right-hand corner, please make sure you put in the specific TA number that is referenced to the trip that you all took and that was turned in 7 days prior to you leaving. So make sure in the due expenditures below, conclude all claims against this TA, click no, and also click no on the travel advance section. For every TRV, no matter what you do in section 1, every person, no matter if they're getting reimbursed for mileage, airfare, or something else, they have to have the dates and the locations on where they went listed on this form. So for this example, it was September 1st to the 4th, and they were going to Columbia, or from Columbia to Fort Myers, and then from Fort Myers to Columbia. We are going to use the example of the student that ended up paying for their own car, and so say they did actually spend 600, or they did drive 608 miles one way, and based off state policy we are at a 50% rate for reimbursement, and this student would be allocated $608 or reimbursed $608, and luckily that student thought out and were approved that exact amount of funds with the finance committee, and that was also on their TA, so that all matches. For lodging, this student ended up paying the amount for everyone for the trip for a hotel for 3 nights. So they ended up paying out of their own pocket with tax and based off what the receipt showed, $856.78. Please make sure you always put in the specific amount that was actually spent on the receipts in these sections. So sections 1 through 4 do that. Section 3 is a registration fee. This person ended up paying for $400 of the $600 that was approved, so that's still within the TA limits. And then section 4, they don't have anything there. So now we're in section 5, which shows the grand total of everything added up. So please make sure you have your department number listed and fund number. Again, from the original TA video, you should remember that it was completely specific to your organization. So if you do not know your department and fund number, or you do not have your TA in front of you or can't find it, please call me, because you have to have that specific numbers listed to be able to get the reimbursement. For the object code, every student that travels will have the object code of 52022. That is just university policy. The analytical section, leave blank. And then the amount section right here is actually the amount that's going to be reimbursed and highlighted in the amount to be reimbursed section. So when we check everything out, they were given monies for mileage. They were under the amount. They asked for $900 and were approved for $900 but didn't spend that amount, so he could get that full reimbursement. And that registration fee was, they had $600 on their TA, and this person ended up paying for 2 so that they get $400. They're approved to have to spend that $400, and they have the receipt showing it. So everything looks good to go, and so they will actually get that full reimbursement in general. Now for this specific example, let's say that they ended up spending $800 of registration fee because there was a late payment because they didn't get the early bird special. Well, because they were only approved the $600 from the original finance committee, and the TA had 600 as well. Yes, the grand total is going to be larger than what the amount they can be reimbursed will be. So they will actually get $2,064.78 instead of the $22.64. If you can see that they weren't approved for an extra 200 from the original TA. So now that everything's filled out and complete, please make sure that your preparer, if that's you or if usually it's a treasurer, but make sure the name and phone number is located at the bottom left-hand corner. And that is because if the travel department ever has a question or ever needs to ask anything, they can provide that or they can call that person and get any clarification. This red signature line down below is where any traveler on the trip can sign and date, just verifying that the above statements are true and that they certify that this person really should get everything because they paid, they drove their car, they paid for the hotel, they paid for the registration fee, so they really should get that amount of money that was approved to the organization. Please note the mileage section here. So once you have this form completed, you can print it out, get that traveler signature. But because the mileage was over 500 miles and it was a car that was driven, the travel department is going to require that the organization turn in the TRV, but also turn in a memo stating why the organization chose to drive instead of fly, because the university has a flying policy that anything over 500 miles they recommend or their advisement is to fly. So typically organizations will create a memo and they'll have their whole executive board sign the bottom, just stating that it was a cost savings attempt with driving a car and it worked, and that was the best option for their organization with monies. Please, with this TRV, have every single, based off what you wrote on this form, every single receipt that attributes to the form. So when it comes to mileage, you don't need any receipts. We don't need gas receipts. We know the mileage. We can look it up. The lodging receipt, so the hotel receipt, and itemized, so day to day with every tax, every room charge, just day to day needs to be listed. And same with the registration fee. It needs to show that this person specifically paid for, $800 worth of registration fees. You have to turn in the TRV form, all of the original itemized receipts for this TRV, and that memo, because the mileage is over 500 miles, to the Student Organization Finance Advisor. And their office is located in the Russell House West Wing in Suite 115. If you have any questions or need help with anything, please contact your student body treasurer. Please contact the student body comptroller team, or you can contact the Student Organization Finance Advisor at 803-777-6688. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask or call. Have a wonderful rest of your day.